It sounds like the setup for one of his elaborate social experiments. Nathan Fielder, the master of awkward, at the controls of a Boeing 737, packed with actual passengers after just 2 years of training. But this wasn't merely a stunt for his show, the rehearsal. What Fielder stumbled upon, while initially exploring the nuanced difficulties of pilot communication, peels back the veneer on an industry that operates on an implicit trust we rarely question. His journey revealed that the absurdities in aviation aren't just comedic. They point to systemic issues that should concern every single person who steps onto a plane. Season 2 of The Rehearsal ostensibly began as a comedic deep dive into a peculiar aviation phenomenon. Why co-pilots, trained professionals, sometimes fail to speak up against a captain's error, even when safety is on the line. Fielder meticulously reconstructed scenarios, hiring actors to play pilots, all to understand this social awkwardness in a high-stakes environment. His findings corroborated a chilling reality acknowledged in many accident reports. A significant number of aviation incidents are linked not to mechanical failure, but to a breakdown in cockpit resource management, where co-pilots are too intimidated or socially hesitant to effectively challenge authority. But this thread, once pulled, unraveled far more than just awkward silences. It exposed a tapestry of deeply unsettling truths about the entire aviation sector. One of the most disturbing revelations is the pervasive pilot health cover-up. The very system designed to ensure pilot fitness often incentivizes dangerous dishonesty. Pilots, under immense pressure to maintain their medical certifications, actively hide conditions like depression, ADHD, anxiety, and even the use of common prescribed medications. Why? Because disclosure often means immediate grounding, a battery of expensive, time-consuming evaluations with no guarantee of reinstatement, and the potential death of a career they've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars and years into. Young pilots, in particular, saddled with massive training debts, are reported to be consistently untruthful about their medical histories. Browse aviation forums on platforms like Reddit, and you'll find countless threads where pilots openly advise trainees and colleagues to never seek formal diagnoses for conditions like autism or any mental health concern that could trigger FAA scrutiny, creating a shadow system where self-medication and stoic silence are preferred over career-threatening transparency. The FAA reports that around 5,600 commercial pilots are flying with medical issues they didn't disclose, a number many insiders believe is a gross underestimate. Compounding the health concerns is the shocking ease with which one can theoretically be qualified to fly commercial aircraft. While dedication and skill are undoubtedly required, the regulatory minimums can be alarmingly low. In the United States, a commercial pilot license can be obtained with as few as 250 flight hours, a stark contrast to the thousands typically accumulated by veteran captains. Furthermore, a type rating for a complex aircraft like the Boeing 737, which qualifies a pilot to operate that specific model, can be achieved in intensive courses lasting just 8 to 10 days. Remember the Boeing 737 MAX controversies? Part of Boeing's marketing strategy, later heavily criticized, was that pilots transitioning from older 737 models would require minimal new training, infamously suggesting as little as 1 hour on a computer tablet. Nathan Fielder, by meticulously navigating regulatory loopholes and exploiting these condensed training pathways, managed to get himself into the right seat of a real Boeing 737, demonstrating not his genius, but the system's potential vulnerabilities. You've heard the narrative repeatedly from major airlines. There's a crippling pilot shortage. This claim is used to justify everything from service cuts to lobbying for reduced training requirements. But data from the FAA and pilot unions paints a different picture. Figures suggest there are roughly 1.5 qualified pilots available for every 1 pilot job opening. The real issue isn't a lack of pilots. It's often a reluctance by major airlines to invest in training new captains or to pay competitive wages that would attract experienced pilots from regional carriers or general aviation. They desire pilots with thousands of hours of experience on specific aircraft types, effectively wanting other entities to bear the significant training costs. Meanwhile, regional airlines, which serve as crucial feeders to the majors, often pay notoriously low starting salaries, leading to high turnover and burnout. The shortage narrative becomes a convenient tool to suppress wages and push for deregulation, rather than a reflection of an actual deficit in qualified aviators. While aviation remains statistically one of the safest forms of travel, recent trends are deeply concerning. Preliminary data indicates a stark rise in aviation fatalities globally. For instance, some analyses show 2024 on track for significantly more fatalities than the exceptionally safe year of 2023, which saw around 72. Within the U.S. domestic system, there's been a documented surge in near mid-air collisions and runway incursions, with some reports indicating nearly 300 such serious incidents over a recent 12-month period. Add to this the plight of air traffic controllers, who are chronically understaffed and overworked, routinely pulling 60-hour weeks, sometimes with mandatory overtime. Furthermore, pilots are reporting a more than 500% increase in GPS interference incidents, potentially linked to jamming or spoofing, adding another layer of complexity and risk to navigation. These aren't isolated statistics. They paint a picture of a system under mounting stress. The systemic rot becomes undeniable when examining corporate priorities. Boeing, once a paragon of engineering, has faced intense scrutiny over decisions that seemingly prioritized shareholder profits and delivery schedules over rigorous safety protocols. The 737 MAX disasters and more recently, incidents like the door plug blowout on an Alaska Airlines flight have exposed critical manufacturing flaws and quality control lapses. Whistleblowers have alleged a culture where raising safety concerns could be detrimental to one's career, and where design compromises were made to expedite certification or reduce training costs. This isn't just about one company. It reflects a broader industry trend where financial pressures can subtly erode the bedrock of safety culture, leading to deferred maintenance, rushed turnarounds, and a reluctance to invest in proactive safety measures. This culture of fear isn't limited to manufacturing. It extends to operational personnel. When airlines threaten to cut routes or penalize employees for speaking out about safety or operational pressures, it creates an environment where honest reporting is stifled. Pilots may hesitate to report fatigue or minor mechanical issues for fear of flight cancellations and repercussions. Air traffic controllers might downplay staffing shortages to avoid blame. This systemic reluctance to confront uncomfortable truths means that valuable data which could prevent future incidents is lost. The entire edifice of aviation safety relies on open, honest communication and a non-punitive reporting culture. When that breaks down, the risk to everyone increases. We, the flying public, place our lives in the hands of this system, trusting that all checks and balances are robustly in place. Ironically, Nathan Fielder's comedy show, through its absurdly meticulous pursuit of understanding awkwardness, arguably conducted a more revealing investigation into the aviation industry's underbelly than many mainstream journalistic efforts. These aren't wild conspiracy theories. They are documented issues, acknowledged deficiencies, and systemic pressures that the industry often downplays or addresses with insufficient urgency. The system largely runs on the immense trust we place in it, yet this trust is predicated on an assumption of near perfection that is increasingly challenged by these open secrets. We board aircraft operated by pilots who may be overworked, underpaid, or concealing health issues, flying on planes whose manufacturers have faced serious questions about quality, all managed by a system straining under pressure. The absurdity Nathan Fielder highlights isn't just funny, it's a deeply concerning reflection of reality, prompting a critical question: are we paying enough attention?